The spiritual condition of America, politics, culture, and current events, analyzed through the lens of Scripture. Welcome to the Alex McFarland Show.
What if woke leftists wrote the preamble to the Constitution today? Hi, Alex McFarland here. I'm sure you know the preamble to the Constitution. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. In just a moment, I want to talk about what if this 52-word preamble were written today. But as we get to that, let's together, with a hearty, sincere voice, say, Happy birthday, America. Our nation is about to celebrate its 248th birthday. And if you've listened to our programming for long at all, you know that I love America. I'm a Christian first, but I'm a patriot second. My home is in heaven. My loyalty is to Jesus Christ. But having traveled much of the world and all 50 states and Canada, South America, Europe, in the context of the gospel ministry, I've been a lot of places. And I will tell you, the United States of America is the best place in the world to live. Now, we are not quite the nation we once were, and I would say that our nation spiritually, socially, morally, ethically, certainly governmentally, we have slipped a long way. And it's really due to two things: the breakdown of the family and the loss of a Christian conscience. And it can be restored. But I do love our nation, warts and all, and I hope you are praying for our country as well. July 4th, 2024 will be the nation's 248th birthday. In fact, one of our ministries was incorporated 2 decades ago, Project 2026. We're hearing more about the year 2026, but 2 decades ago, I felt led of God to incorporate as Project 2026 because the year 2026 will be the 250th birthday of the country. And what our objectives, our board and myself, we wanted to do our utmost, and we are doing our utmost to see people evangelized and revival come to America by the nation's 250th birthday. I just think there's something about the 250th birthday, a quarter millennia of existence. And I felt prayerfully, vocally, we would, with God's help, evangelize and reach young people, and we are doing that, and our staff is growing, and I give God the glory. But I want to talk about, as we get to the country's birthday, part of the genius of our country, part of what they call the miracle in Philadelphia, was the writing of the Constitution. And I've often thought about that 52-word preamble that really lays out 5 objectives the framers had in mind as they crafted the U.S. Constitution. Now, during a 6-week period in 1787, 55 men wrote what is almost universally acknowledged as the finest governing document in human history. Think about that. As the Squad and AOC and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and different people denigrate America, and they mislead people by endlessly saying we're a democracy, which is not true. We're a representative republic, and specifically a Judeo-Christian representative republic. But it's little wonder that the result of the Constitutional Convention in 1787 is often called the miracle in Philadelphia. Now, the 5 objectives in this preamble, and you've got the Declaration of Independence, the preamble, the Constitution, the 27-point Bill of Rights. We, the people, not a top-down governing oligarchy, but the people. What people? Of the United States. That's not illegals. That's not immigrants. The people, the citizens, the body politic of the United States. For what reason? In order to form a more perfect union, establish justice. And the beautiful thing about the framers, they were such well-read, literate, and yes, godly, principled people that they had studied everything from Aristotle to Augustine to John Locke, the great philosophers, and they knew that true justice, not social justice as woke online influencers would define it, but justice are the laws that comport with the nature of God. Dr. King wrote this in a letter from the Birmingham jail, and I would encourage people to read his 1963 Pulitzer-winning book, Why We Can't Wait. But everybody from Jefferson to Dr. King to Ronald Reagan to the great theorists today, and I think of people like, Ben Shapiro, and people today, William F. Buckley of a couple of decades past, talked about the laws of America, the laws of man are just only to the degree that they square with the laws of God. But establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, not defund the police or have community organizers disrupt tranquility, but to preserve it. Provide for the common defense. Yes, nations and individuals are given the right to self-defense. Promote the general welfare. That's what Aristotle and the Greeks would have called the law of general beneficence. We might also call it the golden rule. Jesus said, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. The general welfare, that which is for the common good. Secure the blessings of liberty. Notice general welfare rests upon personal liberty and personal responsibility. For whom? Ourselves and our posterity, citizens and their children. This presupposes the rights of parents. And they say, we do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Now, the preamble of the Constitution unambiguously lays out the intentions of the framers and the scope of the document. It's an introduction to our laws for the operation, and bylaws really, for the operation of the nation. The preamble is the precursor to the law of our land. It's really the prologue of the Constitution. So we're going to, in the moments that remain, I want to look at the Constitution and its preamble. But let's imagine if this 52-word document were written by woke leftists of today. Now, if our Constitution were a graduate school dissertation or some academic book, the preamble would be its rationale or thesis statement. Now, we'll come back. We'll talk more about this on this July 4th week. Happy birthday, America. May God bless our nation. Dear listener, may God bless you. And when we come back, we'll think more about how to serve God and country and be stewards and citizens. Please don't go away.
Fox News and CNN call Alex McFarland a religion and culture expert. Stay tuned for more of his teaching and commentary after this.
Are you tired of liberal agendas ruining our country, but you don't know what to do about it? That's why Truth and Liberty Coalition was founded. We want to equip you to take back our country and impact the world. Here's how we do it. We educate through broadcasts, conferences, and our website with resources that inform, equip, and motivate. We unify by collaborating with like-minded organizations like the Family Research Council, the Family Policy Alliance, and My Faith Votes. We mobilize by providing practical tools you can use to impact your local community. As Christians, we are called to make disciples of nations. Together, we can change the course of our country for good. Join Truth and Liberty to connect with believers and organizations who not only want to see a change in our nation, but a community that is actually doing something about it. Join us online for our broadcast and subscribe for relevant updates on our website, truthandliberty.net.
He's been called trusted, truthful, and timely. Welcome back to the Alex McFarland Show.
Welcome back to the program. Alex McFarland here. We're talking about the preamble to the Constitution. And before the break, I said the preamble is like the thesis statement. Okay, the 52-word preamble was written in light of the Declaration of Independence, which preceded it, but because of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, which would soon follow. You've got to read the preamble to have this make sense, because these documents are connected, they complement each other perfectly, and are really understood, or should be understood, as a cohesive whole. Now, the people, a perfect union, promote the general welfare, secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do hereby ordain and establish this Constitution. Imagine if this document were written by today's woke, phobic, fearing, critical race theory, diversity, equity, inclusive, DEI, alphabet mafia. If it were, maybe it would read something like this. Now, this is work, but I just wrote these things down because, let's be honest, here, this is where we are. I'm going to read the rewriting of the preamble. We, they, them, humans, transhumans, and fluid non-identifiers of this confederation of trespassing colonizers, endeavoring to live out our truth, having stolen these lands of indigenous people to whom we really owe an apology and reparations, but shall leave that national karma to the citizens of the 21st century to deal with, in order to pave the way for a responsibly sourced, fair trade-based community, do hereby establish social justice, ensure domestic partnerships, diversity, inclusion, and enforced equality. Provide for the common defense. Wait, scratch that. Provide for guaranteed monthly income. Because defense implies structural aggression, which we do not condone. And since people are fundamentally good, we expect the government to sustain, mollycoddle, and provide at no cost pretty much everything. Promote welfare. We very much support welfare. Defund the police and all common defense forces because the mere presence of law enforcement makes us feel threatened and unsafe. And secure, well, not secure, because that implies someone else is insecure, exploited, or oppressed. A problem that we believe universal government intervention will solve in time, but let's not go there now. Okay, secure the blessings. Wait, scratch blessings, because that implies a blesser, whom we know to be the product of homophobic cisgender haters of European descent, a being they call God, but hey, they no longer speak for everyone. I mean, like not everyone is a Christian. I mean, there are Wiccans, Satanists, and I can't even. God, you people are so... Well, you just can't assume that gods exist or that he, she, or whatever blesses people in some way exist. I mean, do you think you're better than other people, you all who are so blessed? There are no blessings. There's just stuff. There's a bunch of stuff. A bunch of stuff just happened. Anyway, okay. Therefore, as we promote a non-white, gender-free reality based on sustainability and universally proud and inclusive practices, we, ourselves, themselves, theyselves, itselves, and our posterity. Wait, can we strike posterity? I don't really know what that means, but it sounds like something a dead white guy would say. But anyway, since overpopulation has harmed the environment and because a birthing person has a right to terminate his, her, their pregnancy at any time up to and including after delivery, I think we can all breathe easier, knowing that the burden of children is one form of human enslavement that birthing persons are legally protected from. Plus, marriage, as straights define it, was basically a form of state-sanctioned indentured servitude. So I take issue with the assumption that there should be any so-called, quote, posterity. Thanks to open minds and open borders, we have matured beyond that. Thus, while being open to shifting social norms, we, the above non-identified collective declare we have a better idea and may ghost the whole government thing and just be free because the whole recreational drug freedom thing is working out really well. Fight the patriarchy! Okay. Meanwhile, back in reality, folks, if you've just been listening to the last 2 minutes of me reading some delusional insanity, you think, what is Alex McFarland talking about? What I've just done is reimagine the preamble to the Constitution if woke leftists had written it. And you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, what is all this, socialist collective birthing persons, scratch blessings because we don't believe in God or a blesser, fight the patriarchy? You've got to understand this utopian deconstruction which is going on. And my goodness, if you want to meet people that live in a magical, imaginary world of La La Land, just interview or try to have a rational conversation with the professors of secular universities. Our Declaration, Preamble, Constitution, 27-point Bill of Rights, our United States of America, we have enjoyed and continue to enjoy the most perfect governing structure known in the history of mankind. I mean, really, the only government that could promise a human being more liberty, sustainability, stability, prosperity would have been Israel under King Solomon. And militant secularists cry out, oh, you're theocratic. No, part of the genius of what the colonists envisioned and framed, it was the best balance of human freedom but human accountability. Liberty, and this doesn't mean a militant autonomy that you can do anything, anywhere, but there is a moral conscience that is within all human beings that are rational. I know there are people that are mentally challenged and there are narcissistic sociopaths, but 99.9% of the humans walking around have a moral conscience. And this moral awareness comports with, is absolutely reflective of the revealed moral code written in the Decalogue, the law of Moses. So what they envisioned, and this is what has enabled us for a quarter millennia to live under one governing document, a very brief governing document, is that our nation presupposes objective morality. Now, when we come back, we're going to talk more about this preamble to the Constitution and the woke rewriting of it, which, thank the Lord, is not the document we're under. But we'll come back and we'll talk more about reality, our nation, and what our restored future can be if we'll live morally and before God, our Creator. Stay tuned.
Fox News and CNN call Alex McFarland a religion and culture expert. Stay tuned for more of his teaching and commentary after this.
In recent years, our nation has suffered greatly and we seem to be on a rapid moral decline. We've rejected God, morality, and we've almost completely lost our sense of patriotism. It's no wonder that many are asking the question, is this the end of America? Hi, Alex McFarland here, and I want to make you aware of my book, The Assault on America, How to Defend Our Nation Before It's Too Late. You know, our nation has seen politicians that are corrupted by greed, and they've got a vested interest in power, and many of our elected officials seem to care little about the country that they've been appointed to serve. Read my book, The Assault on America. We can stand up for our great nation and defend America before it's too late. It's available everywhere. You can learn more on my own website, which is alexmcfarland.com. Read the book, The Assault on America, How to Defend Our Nation Before It's Too Late.
He's been called trusted, truthful, and timely. Welcome back to the Alex McFarland Show.
Welcome back to the program. Before we resume our look at the preamble reimagined in light of 21st century wokeness. Hey, let me thank everybody who prays for our ministry. You know, as you hear this broadcast, we're in the third of our 7 summer camps. This time in Indiana, we've been in Montana, we've been in Georgia, now Indiana, and we're seeing middle school and high schoolers come to Christ. They're accepting Christ and being born again. They're praying for this nation. Kids are hungry for truth. They really are. And let me encourage you, we have a lot of resources God's allowed us to create over the years. If you put my name in, whether it be Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble, or if you have a local Christian bookstore, I hope you support it. But the books that God's allowed us to write, like the 10 most common objections to Christianity and how to effectively answer them, that has a 12-week small group study guide in the back, and I hope you're teaching apologetics and biblical worldview in Sunday school. And of course, my book, The Assault on America, How to Defend Our Nation Before It's Too Late, I completely give God the glory. It was number 1 in 3 categories on Amazon when it first came out. And so many resources, but folks, we must, every one of us, churches collectively, Christians individually, we've got to share the gospel, pray for our nation, influence others. And to that regard, we have also created a voter's guide for first-time voters and maybe you're a Christian and you think, what's the use? Go to alexmcfarland.com/vote. alexmcfarland.com/vote. Some of the content that I've created, our board chair, Jeff Williams, and our staff, we are so blessed. We have 5 full-time staff now and several part-time contractors. Go to alexmcfarland.com/vote because we want people to be informed and to make the effort this year to please pray, be informed, influence others, and yes, vote. And I really do think that voting is a stewardship issue. But finally, for those who financially support this ministry with tax-deductible gifts, this is a work of faith. I assure you it is. And part of the reason that I have stayed at it all these years as an evangelist, an apologetics and worldview speaker, when, every now and then you think, are we doing what God wants us to do? But yes, great fruit is happening. Thousands are coming to Christ, and people are getting a vision to be salt and light. If you feel led to support what we're doing and stand with us, we would be most grateful. And you can give securely online at alexmcfarland.com, alexmcfarland.com, or you can mail a check, if you would, simply to TNG, as in Truth for a New Generation, P.O. Box 10231, Greensboro, North Carolina 27404, and we would be most grateful. But let's wrap this up. We've been talking about the preamble to the Constitution, and this does, as I said, it forms a cohesive whole. And the greatest nation in world history was Israel under King Solomon. But since living in that milieu is not an available option right now, the truly next best thing would be to live under America's Judeo-Christian constitutional representative republic. And that is what we have been. And the X factor, if you would, the secret sauce to our stability, our greatness, our liberty, was this moral code that we police ourselves. We're not controlled from without, but we control ourselves from within based on this moral code that we all really know is there. We're a constitutional representative republic. And millions who have come here legally and built their lives, their families, their businesses over the centuries would agree. And yet, our governing structure, having stood as the most successful government in history for 250 years, just think about that. Our nation is scorned, castigated by leftist, woke progressives today. And the policies of these deconstructionists, these socialists, call them liberals, Marxists, whatever, but they have consistently amounted to a cultural wrecking ball since the 1960s. So as this July 4th approaches, I wonder how many more birthdays our nation may anticipate. as we pray, ponder, live, and vote. Let's thank God for our nation, and with our vote, let's voice which legacy is most worthy of respect and promotion. Hey, let me share something with you. I was earlier in 2024 preaching in Indiana, and now we're back to do a camp here. And, Indiana is the Hoosier state, they call it. And I was there about a decade ago, and I asked people, what is a Hoosier? And they said, well, we don't really know. But you know what? The nickname of the Hoosier state, sometimes spelled Hoosier, relates to our founding and a black pastor named Harry Hoosier. Did you know that? One of the most well-known clergy of the colonial era was a black preacher, and he traveled with Bishop Francis Asbury. But Harry Hoosier was born a slave near Fayetteville, North Carolina, my home state. He was born in the 1700s. He became a pastor, and he traveled with Bishop Asbury. And what's really interesting is that he was such a great preacher. Dr. Benjamin Rush, who was a medical doctor and just one of the great leaders, a founding father of the United States. Benjamin Rush was from Pennsylvania. He was a physician, an outspoken Christian, the founder of Dickinson College in Carlisle, PA, and a signer of the Declaration of Independence, an incredibly accomplished Christian individual. Benjamin Rush said Pastor Harry Hoosier was the greatest orator in America. Isn't that something? Now, think about this. There was a Methodist bishop named Dr. Thomas Coke, C-O-K-E. You've heard of Cokesbury Press. But Dr. Thomas Coke was so moved hearing Hoosier preach, he said, I really believe he is the best preacher in the world. There is an amazing power that attends his preaching. And so here's the thing. So many Christians, this Pastor Harry Hoosier led so many of the colonists to Christ, black and white, and those that settled on the Indiana side of the Ohio River were called Hoosiers. Isn't that something? Indiana, the Hoosier state. And in sports, they'll say, go Hoosiers. Well, this is just a reflection of not only the Christian influence in the colonial era, but one of the great voices of the gospel in the Revolutionary era, a black pastor, Harry Hoosier. On this Independence Day week, thank God for America, thank God for Harry Hoosier, Benjamin Rush, and all the Christian leaders that literally laid down their life for us to have the freedoms that we very often take for granted. George Washington, he said this of people migrating here, our first president. He said, quote, you do well to wish to learn our arts and ways of life, and above all, the religion of Jesus Christ, said George Washington. These will make you a greater and happier people than you are. I think about John Adams. John Adams said this as I close. Now listen to this. May God help our nation at its 248th birthday. Adams wrote, the general principles on which the Founding Fathers achieved independence were the only principles in which that beautiful assembly of young gentlemen could unite. In other words, the only thing they could really all rally around. These principles only could be intended by them in their address. And what were these general principles? I answer, the general principles of Christianity. End of quote. Those principles will save us once again. May we turn to truth, believe God's word, and cleave to Christ.
Alex McFarland Ministries are made possible through the prayers and financial support of partners like you. For over 20 years, this ministry has been bringing individuals into a personal relationship with Christ and has been equipping people to stand strong for truth. Learn more and donate securely online at alexmcfarland.com. You may also reach us at Alex McFarland, P.O. Box 10231, Greensboro, North Carolina 27404, or by calling 1-877-YES-GOD and the number 1. That's 1-877-YES-GOD 1. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again on the next edition of The Alex McFarland Show.